It was here, in the heart of the U.S., that the country was hit on September 11, 2001. 15 years after the attacks, New York celebrates its heroes, the Army. 1.5 million soldiers paraded as saviors of freedom. Every year, on November 11th, Armistice Day, this parade pays tribute to the generations of soldiers fallen in battle since World War I, and those returning from Iraq or Afghanistan. And already the next generation arrives, those who represent the future of the most powerful army in the world.
Forward! 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 Right! Right! Right!
Not yet graduated from high school. These soldiers in training are between 14 and 17 years old. They belong to the Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. The JROTC, a program created by the Pentagon so that youth might discover their calling in the Army as early as possible.
It's wonderful. You feel the true love for our country. You get that pride from as young as 3. My 6-year-old son and my 3-year-old son, it's just a pride that you're born with that pride.
America has promised to make these children heroes. 500,000 minors are enrolled in military programs all over the United States. The hope of a fearful America to fight against terrorism. Most were not yet born on September 11, 2001, a generation born from the ashes. In this public school in the south side of Chicago, 20% of students choose the Army elective. 1 hour of class a day, 5 times a week, led by retired soldiers. These teenagers are in 9th grade. They have just joined the program. Today, their future uniforms will be distributed.
Take seats!
The Army is present in more than 3,000 American public schools. Students who take the Army elective are exempt from physical education classes.
The biggest thing I'm looking at is just make sure your hair does not touch your ears, your sideburns.
For 4 years, they'll be part of a program governed and financed by the Pentagon.
About your fingernails right here. What are some unauthorized colors?
Purple, black, white, red, camouflage colors, neon colors.
Let me see your nails. All right, now, hold them up. All right, now tomorrow, if she got her nails like this right here, she's gonna lose points. Let me see those.
We come from military backgrounds, so we come from structured environments, and we know what it takes to create a structured environment. Regular teachers, they graduate college, they get a teaching certificate, and then they start teaching, but I don't think they really understand classroom management or managing large groups of people and different ways of doing that like we do. And maybe that's why we can get the kids to do push-ups, but a regular teacher couldn't, you know?
As I want to, become more of a better citizen in the country, and, well, I just want to become stronger, physically and mentally.
I was kind of forced into it a little bit, because there wasn't much space left in gym. And it's not that I don't like the class, it's just I wasn't interested at the time, but now it's become a little bit more interesting now. Well, of course, I don't like, him yelling at me and stuff like that. That's always going to be a problem. But
any questions so far?
Established in 1916 after the First World War, the JROTC declined in popularity over the years. But President Bush made it relevant again after the 2001 attacks. As the U.S. military prepared to declare war in Afghanistan, it needed men. But with armed conflict looming, volunteers were lacking. Officially, the Pentagon says it wants to contribute to youth development. In Chicago, it's Colonel Baggio, retired after 33 years of U.S. military service, who oversees operations.
Well, the Junior ROTC program is really about citizenship, and it's about teaching young boys and girls, high school age, young men and women about service and what they can do to better themselves. But I have nothing to do with recruiting, so it's a distinct difference. And it's a very important point because a lot of people, a lot of teachers don't understand that. They think that we are. And we almost get defensive about it because we have to explain that we're not on a regular basis.
The program is most popular in the city of Chicago. The Army maintains a presence in a quarter of the schools, training more than 10,000 adolescents. This militarization of education is accepted by the local authorities, who believe it helps prevent gang war.
So those are tougher neighborhoods. Harlan High School, another one. Fenger, another one. So South and West tend, on average, to be the rougher ones. Junior ROTC, once again, it's what I would call the anti-gang. We give alternatives and great opportunities for kids to do things that are a lot of fun and give back to the society.
The Army acts as a good gang, faced with the bad gangs who pose a threat in the dangerous neighborhoods. 324 children under the age of 16 were injured by gunshots last year. 36 died. To protect the pupils on their way home from school, the city has created safe routes.
All right, go for it. Be careful.
Guarded by veterans of the war in Iraq or Afghanistan.
I tend to look into the cars as they drive by as well to see who it is so I can get a good eye on a driver or passengers in the car. Usually you may have a car that pulls up and it has 4 kids in the back and they roll the windows down. There's a possibility that they may be gang members looking for someone. So if I make eye contact with them and show my presence, they tend to drive away. They tend to show a little more respect towards the situation. You learn that from being a little kid. You're always watching your back, your left and right. And you watch your buddies back and left and right. And that's something you do in the military as well. We have what is called battle buddies. And you treat these kids just as if they are your battle buddies. Because you are. You're in a battle every day for your life in some areas of this city.
Every night, the human death toll rises. In Chicago, 2016 was the deadliest in 20 years. More than 700 fatalities, more than in any other American city. Adult shadows in the streets. Curfew for minors from 9 p.m. West Lawn, a disadvantaged neighborhood in Chicago's South Side. It's 4:30 in the morning. Yasmin, 17 years old, is getting ready for school. She's been a member of the JROTC for 4 years.
I was kind of excited to wear it because it just looks so clean when you put it on, especially when you have your actual coat on and you see all those decorations on it. I guess it's just something of our appearance that people think we're not the type of people to get involved with out in the street.
A uniform and rules. Here they represent order in the face of disorder. Childhoods stolen by violence. Every Wednesday at high school, it's inspection day. Uniforms are required for the school's 380 cadets. 1 student out of 5 has chosen the Army elective. The day begins with an inspection of the troops.
Do not take off your coats. You do not have a rank. You don't take off your coats. You do not put your book bag over your coats. You carry it on your forearm. Understood? Yes, ma'am. Attention. Second period. Yes.
Since September, Yasmin has been the leader of the cadets. She's in charge. She conducts the inspection of the troops.
I feel like I'm at the Army. Yeah, because at school, like, we're so used to, like, just doing, like, everything maybe halfway and not actually giving it our 100. And when you see, like, the Army videos, you're like, oh my God, like, they're so strict. Like, they have to do everything in unison. Whether you're shy or not, you're challenged to step up to any problem. So that makes you, like, more comfortable with yourself. And it brings you out of your shell. So it pretty much gives you that confidence boost. Class! Ma'am! Let's try it again. You can be louder than that. Class! Ma'am! Attention! Present arms! Class dismissed. Go!
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Ouch.
At Hubbard High School, the program has been supervised by the same man for 22 years, Colonel Wargo, a Vietnam War veteran.
Good morning, gentlemen, or should I say good afternoon. This is your wake-up call. All right, move out. Let's go. Put them up. Close. Hey, we're going to be in and out today, so close the cage door. Which is a 93, which is a good solid A. Your homework assignment, you got a 78 on the quiz. All right, no, you are doing a real good job. Now, I need to see Jan, Mr. Garcia, and brief him on what's going on, please, before he comes in. All right. I have had gang members in this program. I know that. We try to work with them to break free from that influence, but in some of the neighborhoods, some of the areas in these neighborhoods, it's very difficult. This is basically what we call in the United States a blue-collar neighborhood. We're talking about carpenters, truck drivers, factory workers, day laborers, people that, the type of people I was raised with in the coal mining town that I came from back home in western Pennsylvania. So I have at least some general understanding of what they're fighting in that respect. And we have been able over time to build up relationships with the parents, the families, the community, and that has added to our ability to at least attempt to influence both the young men and the young women in a positive way. Gives them an opportunity to see something else that they haven't seen before. The idea that, you know, I can do something else. I can do better. I can move away from this activity, these organizations, as I like to call them, and do something with my life. You're here and you participate and you've helped and you've stepped up and helped on more than one occasion. Next time you don't turn it in on time, it's either a 1 or a 0. Yes, sir. And brief him on what's going on in here, okay? Their performance in certain areas not only affect their grade, but their position in the program. And that means, among other things, that there's something in the term we use in the military is you'll be relieved of your duties. Basically, if they do not perform correctly, I'm going to fire them from the positions that they're in, and then I will take their rank away from them.
The Army doesn't only teach these students discipline. They take courses in history of armed forces, civics, and physical training. Textbooks are provided free of charge by the Pentagon, who determines their content single-handedly. What do they expect of these children whose minds they're shaping? Nothing officially. But in the sergeant's office, it's impossible not to notice the business cards placed nonchalantly at the front of his desk.
What is this?
What are these cards in front here?
The recruiters, they leave their cards. And these are different recruiters, Navy, Army, Marine Corps. And if a kid is interested in the military, we'll give them the card and they contact the recruiter, and the recruiter assists them in joining the military. And that's why I said that we don't recruit. We'll assist you if the cadet is interested in going in the military, but we don't recruit ourselves. It's a win-win, because at the college level, if the kid meets the requirements, he or she could get either a full ride, 4 years, scholarship paid for, or 3, or even 2, and then at the end of their college, when they're about to graduate, then they would be commissioned as an officer in the Army, Air Force, or Navy, which actually pays very well. If you go to college the traditional way, there's no guarantees you'll get a job when you graduate college.
Is this message endorsed by the institution's management? How do the American public schools view the presence of the Army in their classrooms? For Nancy Wiley, principal of Hubbard High School, the leaders of these institutions need to be pragmatic.
CPS is struggling sometimes, financially, so we have to be real careful about how we promote programs and how we finance programs. The JROTC program is funded through the district, so we don't take our school money to pay.
They're free teachers.
Yes, it is, which is a nice thing. So, and they're all military, they're retired military officers, and they come in and they give back to the kids. So they get paid through the ROTC program in the city. So it's nice. It's something we don't have to pay for. So.
The course includes before and after school activities.
Report out!
The Army has ample opportunity to introduce thousands of American teenagers to the military routine and its dreams.
One unit, one mind.
That's what this man is fighting against. Rory Fanning is a former soldier. What he saw and experienced led him to leave the Army and devote his life to counter-recruitment to prevent his former employer from enlisting American youth.
They're not communicating the full story to these young people. They ask me, Call of Duty is a very popular first shooter video game that a lot of kids play, and they asked me, is the military like Call of Duty? I was like, well, are the vast majority of people who die in Call of Duty civilians? They said no. Do you hear women and children screaming, when they see their son or daughter or child die in front of them in Call of Duty, the video game? No. Can you turn off Call of Duty? Yeah. Well, you can't turn off war. And a lot of these kids just don't hear the darker side.
Rory Fanning is a former Special Forces soldier. He fought in Afghanistan. Now he's trying to convince teachers to let him talk to their students and tell them about his war.
I signed up to prevent another terrorist attack, but by virtue of targeting so many innocent people, we were only creating the conditions for more terrorist attacks. There's an important statistic, between 1980 and 2001, there were 384 suicide bombs around the world, with only 10% of those suicide bombs directed at the U.S. and U.S. interests. Since 2001, there's been over 2,500 suicide bombs around the world, with 90% aimed at the U.S. and U.S. interests. You can find that statistic at foreignpolicy.com by University of Chicago Presser. I'm lucky if I speak to 3 schools a year. Just because the JROTC program is looked on generally positive. The teachers, because it's a positive program, don't necessarily want to rock the boat by bringing someone like me in to talk to the kids. And I don't fault them for it. I mean, it's a precarious work environment for so many teachers, unfortunately. So it hasn't been easy. The U.S. spends about $60 billion a year on education. We spend probably $600 billion a year on average on the military. So it's about 10 times more on the military than education. We closed 50 public schools here in Chicago. They said there's no money for the schools. So the military is filling in the blanks.
Deficits, mainly in poor neighborhoods. In the United States, ethnic statistics, prohibited in some other countries, are legal. In Chicago, cadets in the JROTC are predominantly Latino. 54%, and African American, 37%. Whites represent only 5% of those enrolled. Yasmin's parents came to Chicago from Mexico 30 years ago. They run a small neighborhood rental space for receptions. Yasmin is the last of their 4 children, the one who helps them every night after classes. In 6 months, she will finish high school. She dreams of going to university to become a social worker, designer, or lawyer.
I guess I like exploring a lot and being able to do many things at the same time. And I know with being in the military, you do travel a lot, which is awesome, but I don't think I would be able to handle like being away from home that long.
Do you know any people who decided to join the military because, for instance, they were not born in the United States and they feel that perhaps it would help them to become more integrated?
Maybe the Latinos and African Americans feel more indebted to this country, whereas the Anglo-Saxons have always felt that they're from here. I don't think it's good that there aren't more whites in the army, because they should have to go overseas too. I mean, we should all be on equal ground, as one race.
The geographical locations chosen by the Army bring to light America's inequalities. Only one school offers the Army elective in the state of Montana, 2 in New Hampshire, states where the population is over 90% white. The Army is primarily targeting downtown ghettos, the declining industrial states of the Rust Belt, and especially the southern United States. Especially Texas, which has more than 200 JROTC programs. The Fort Worth area has sent the most soldiers into combat since the attacks on September 11th, and they've also seen the most fatalities. The largest U.S. military base in Fort Hood is not far away. The military and its subcontractors are the region's main employers. Here, the Army sets up shooting galleries in schools and teaches students how to handle weapons.
.5, straighten your right foot.
Every morning for an hour before school starts, these 14-year-old Texans have shooting practice.
Are they real rifles? Yeah, they're real rifles. They shoot about 500 feet, between 500 and 600 feet a second, so they're very powerful.
Isn't it dangerous for the students?
No, it's pellet. It's a soft pellet. The hope is when they leave here, they can go home and teach adults, because many adults don't know how to safely handle rifles, and especially other kids that have pellet rifles, BB guns. You know, they don't know. A lot of them haven't been through safety classes. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. Continuing Senate for a moment of silence.
You're the future of America. You're the ones who can control the type of country we continue to have. Fear is that thing that you can control. You know that, right? You control fear, not let it control you. Because if you adhere to that Army value of courage, you're going to do what's right, whether you're in the classroom and even on the battlefield.
How many are interested in maybe joining the military? And could you tell us why? Who wants to tell us why?
Like other jobs, you'd be like sitting in an office all day, or something that you want to do will just get boring after a few years. But I know the military will give me a chance to reach out to others and also make me a better person. So that's why I want to join the military.
I want to join the military because, like my sergeant major, I want to give back to the people who helped me. For example, someone who helped me is like my first sergeant, Amador, and First Sergeant Long and Chief. They all helped me. So, and especially for my family, for my country, everything. I just want to give back to them and help them out.
Actually, I already joined the military. I ship off in July. So what my classmate Budna was saying, you can't go wrong with the military. It's a great stepping stone for whatever career you want to do. The military is great in every way. You know, it builds leaders every single day. That way it carries our country. We can control more. We can actually embrace and inspire more with that type of power. That's why I think the military is like great things to do, and that's why I joined.
You've already enrolled and you're still in high school?
I ship off right after graduation.
Saul, 17 years old, has enlisted in the Army for 3 years, with the option of turning it into 8. With a program called Future Soldier, the Army is authorized to enlist adolescents without waiting until they've finished high school.
But I mean, she graduates this 23rd. I wanted to catch a flight, or I wanted to catch a plane or go on a bus or anything to go over there, but I mean, I couldn't. Like,
maybe you could.
South Carolina? Yeah, I was gonna drive, but my car's like 3 inches off the floor. So it's like, yeah, I hit a pothole, my wheel's done. So my sophomore year, I met a senior here, and I started dating her. She was an ROTC also. Little by little, we've been together for like 2 years. She's not in high school anymore, she graduated. And she's actually a US Army soldier. So she's already in the military. If everything goes well, once I'm out, I want to get married with her, and then it'll be perfect. Because I mean, both military, and we're both married, and I don't know, it's a lot more exciting, it's just fun. But yeah, I have a girlfriend, and I love her very much.
Every Thursday, he meets with the recruiters who will train him for war until getting his diploma, the obligatory final step before joining the Army definitively.
What's up, guys?
For this teenager, passionate about nice cars, to the point that he saved up to buy his own with his savings from working in a taco restaurant, the Army has promised he'll become a tank driver.
I really will miss it. I really will. But I can always come back and look back at my memories. Be proud of where I came from, you know? I hope whenever I do come back, that I can come back and see them and see that they're all there. I started here, I came here. Go look at my picture on the wall. How you doing, Sergeant Myers?
Hey, how's it going?
He's busy after exam. Good, and you?
Good to see you.
Yeah. How you doing, Sergeant Lupe?
Walker. Hey, what's going on?
Can I come in? How you doing, sir?
What's up?
Well, nothing. Thank you. I just wanted to talk about, are you guys going to stop by school anytime soon to see if you guys need to recruit any other students? Because some other cadets have been asking me about it.
Yeah, so we're actually going to be doing a presentation at your school on Friday. So Sergeant French will be out there, and then Sergeant Escobar will be out there too. In an area like this where we're at in Texas, there's the high school market is definitely where recruiters want to be, because that's where the majority of people want to join in this area. And obviously we want to be able to afford them the opportunity to do that.
How often do you go to a high school?
I cover 19 different high schools and 5 colleges, and I have 12 recruiters that work underneath me. So all of them have assigned high schools that they should be in, at least twice a week. JROTC is probably the biggest asset, and as far as recruiting goes, when we go out to the schools, they know who we're looking for. How's school going?
In a country where military service is not required, recruiters have to convince 80,000 young people to join the ranks of the American Army, present in 146 countries around the world. Since 2001, they've been helped by a law that requires high schools to give the Pentagon contact information for all their students, otherwise they'd be denied public funding, allowing recruiters to contact them directly at home.
It's quite a task. Right now I think I have 53 future soldiers in our program. At one point we were up to 75, I believe. And so it's a challenge, and especially some of them being younger, you have to keep up with them and keep on them, to do what they're supposed to. But, it can be challenging at times.
Shorten this up to 2 4. Okay. Now we're going to read up. So 9.
I mean, I'm pretty sure every parent that has a son or daughter in the military would be a little afraid for their child. From here on out, I'm pretty much more responsible for it. They are a little afraid of it, but they know their son's in good hands. All right, French. Later, sir.
If they're both naturalized. All the numbers for all your...
all, they love our country. We can all agree that we are blessed to be Americans, that our children deserve to grow up in a nation of safety and peace, and that we are strongest when we are unified and when we work together for the common good.
Let's bring in Ohio Congressman Brad Wenstrup, who was on that baseball field at the time. He's also an Army Reserve officer.
The growing militarization of public schools and the recruitment of young people, still minors, is barely disputed in the United States, but that doesn't mean it's unanimously supported, even in Texas. Mike Gwynn, an actor now, had a previous life. He was a former high-level pole vaulter, which allowed him to secure a scholarship to go to college. He was injured, lost his scholarship, and found no other solution for staying in college than to make a pact with the Pentagon. The rest of his studies would be paid for by the Army, but in exchange, he'd have to enlist upon graduation.
I don't feel like I believe anything he says. When he says, I love our country, he's talking about the country he's building for whoever our is. I don't feel like he's speaking for me. I just don't know what to feel. I don't feel anything when I listen to someone who doesn't have a track record of trust and honesty, and I just don't feel anything. I don't believe him. I don't trust him. I felt more when George Bush was speaking, only because, we had a kind of a mutual enemy with 911 and the whole, safety thing. A lot of innocent people got hurt, I felt a sense of pride and honor, and I was willing to, forget the fact that Bush was a Republican. It felt like we had a common enemy, and we were on the same page in that regard, which is protecting America. And with Obama, it was about, healing America. And with Trump, it's about empowering his part of America. And I don't necessarily agree with that. Trump mentioned about bolstering the military. I understand that you have to have some military, but this whole reason behind why he wants to do that, I hope it's not like it was before when there was, oil involved or some other, commodity. That's the real reason why we're over there.
Today, Mike writes texts about the sickness in America. With Peaceful Vocations, a parents' association for Fort Worth students who are worried about military presence at school. He organizes slam competitions so that the students can share their disgust with the pressure they face every day due to high school recruiters.
When the ROTC recruiters came in to my classroom, they told me Iraq was awesome. Smiles worked across their sweet and clean faces. Yeah, we had milkshake Mondays and taco Tuesdays. It wasn't really that bad. You see, I was born July 4th. And I don't know what it is about America that's got me wishing on stars that aren't so red, white, and blue. When people say my last name, they say Villasana, as if they've been eating quesadillas their whole lives, and as if my last name was just too hard to swallow. America is more like my driver's ed instructor, Bill. Bill once had a son who went overseas, and no matter how American he is, Bill knows there's no bringing him back. And this only feeds this fact that brown people are scary and that black people are scary. Bill, you're always telling me to check my blind spot. I think you should check yours. Because there's a war going on in your backyard because the black people and the white people, the yellow people and the brown people have all been fighting racism. And I know how America just loves saving people, but right now, America could use some saving because, Bill, you're telling me to just follow the curvature of the lane as they were shooting right across my street. Bill, I'm sorry about your son. I know he died trying to make America great again. Maybe you could learn how to love, learn to let go of fear, because I swear I can tell you, Bill, that when the ROTC recruiters came to me, they told me, oh, Iraq was awesome.
Almost at the end. Oh, the professional, he's a professional judge now. All right, judges, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. For Allison, we have a perfect 50. That is 5 tens for Allison, folks.
That really did happen. Quote, they said Iraq was awesome. It's sick. They can't say no after they're in. Everything after that, there is no having an opinion. You can't say, well, I don't want to kill this guy because I feel like it's wrong. Like, you're going to have to do it or else you're going to get sent to jail or you're going to get killed. And to know that, all you have to do is to put yourself in that position is be a 16-year-old sitting in your book getting told that Iraq was awesome.
In the room this evening were many veterans and people who had lost loved ones in combat. The wars in Iraq and Afghanistan have killed more than 5,000 people and injured 50,000 U.S. military. Allison has only shown her text to family and friends, fearing that by criticizing the U.S. military, she'd be marginalized by her classmates and teachers, ostracized for lack of patriotism.
They don't really go into, the higher level classes because they just assume like, oh, well, they're going to go to college. Like they're not desperate. They don't, need to be going into the Army, I guess.
They really are all Hispanic, like pretty much all of them, because it seems like they can go to the minority and they make it seem like, hey, like we'll help you, like help us, we're gonna help you.
Yeah, and I think like all of us like could agree, like since we all came from like immigrant parents, on the fact that immigrant parents will tell you, like I brought you here so that you could have a better life than I did. So you immediately, you start looking in any direction you can for, a way to better your life, to make your parents proud. And, again, the easy way, or a way, I guess, is through JROTC.
They're just like, look, you're like American and I'm your parent and I raised you and you're doing this, which is very American. Like, we belong here. How they make you think, they make you think it makes you more of an American citizen and more legal to the country and that they won't kick you out.
And, they hear, like, rumors, like, oh, well, if you've served in the Army, they'll, like, prioritize your application to becoming a citizen or just stuff like that, or you're more likely to become a citizen. And when, like, frankly, like, those things just aren't true.
What worries you most now that Donald Trump will be president for the next 4 years?
War. I always get like really nervous. I live kind of close to like an Air Force base, and so we see military planes like flying like everywhere, and like seeing like the stuff that he's doing. Every time I see them, I'm like, I really hope they're just like delivering stuff and like everything's okay, because he really does like scare me. I immediately was like, did he like do something? Like, is something happening? You just see him like making someone mad, and like, then problems really start happening.
It's 5 o'clock in the morning. The sun rises on Camp Rango, a former nature observation station where students from the Fort Worth area came to observe wildlife, which 4 years ago was transformed by the U.S. Army into a military camp for children.
2 minutes, you gotta go. We gotta go. Step it up.
No. It's just that you gotta move,
The camp takes place every summer just at the end of the school year.
Company, platoon, attention.
These teenagers were handpicked. They are the best cadets in Fort Worth and the surrounding area. 252 young people aged 14 to 17. The Army will offer them a 5-day immersive experience.
Young people at this age, they don't realize the danger that it's out here in the woods, the wilderness, if you will, compared to back in Fort Worth or Alvarado or Richardson. And so my job and my instructor's job is to ensure that they're safe and they get back home with a little more confidence, a little more skills, and a sense of teamwork, and prepare for the next school year.
The next generation has arrived. Most of these teenagers are wearing the camouflage uniform for the first time in their lives. The one they've seen on American heroes, on television, in movies, in video games.
Doing good. Okay, good.
Come on, keep it going, keep it going.
Oh, you let your legs down. You had it.
Keep moving. Come on, keep moving.
Keep moving, don't stop. Keep moving, go, 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 go. Good job.
Thumbs up. Big thumbs up. Hands in front. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Big jump.
Let go, yes.
Oh my gosh.
These camps are not limited to Texas. Every summer, hundreds of camps like this take place throughout the United States. They are mandatory wherever the Pentagon proposes an Army elective. Again, they're financed by the Department of Defense.
These young ladies have done a remarkable job.
Spotter, who's next? Let's go, spotter.
Well, while up there, you can see pretty far out, and the clouds, you can see over the top of the trees and everything. I mean, it wobbles a little bit, but it's not that bad. I've never been in a plane, but this is what it would feel like if I had no top.
Freshman and sophomore year, I just didn't like the uniforms, and then...
You know, U.S. service members wear that uniform, and U.S. service members are a reflection of our country, just like the flag, just like the bald eagle. Our military represents our country, so you should be proud to wear the uniform. And when we say wear the uniform with pride, that's what you should be so honored to put on the cloth of America. You should think about that.
I cried when I was up there. I cried when I was
Okay?
going down.
Thank you, John.
Say to the instructors in the zip line. Come here, Mariah.
In this campaign to inspire young people to enlist, the parents have not been forgotten. The Army wants to secure their support, show them that their teenagers are in good hands.
Let's do it again.
You know where you were at, right? I was having
Right foot.
They are invited to spend half a day at the camp with their children, play the same war games, children's games.
A lot of people were scared to go on, but we said, at least try, you know? So, like, at first I was like, okay, this is kind of, you know.
A little emotional. And of course, I'm not always far away from them, you know, so I know that this is also training for us, you know, when they enlist. I said she was mostly about the books and getting her, you know, the high grades and things like that, you know. And I think she started with ROTC in middle school because there was not a class available. And, you know, of course, to me at the beginning it was like, oh my gosh, it's the worst thing ever. But now she's turned it around. I honestly try to discourage her, but I think the more I discouraged her, the more she wanted to do it. So now it's like, don't say nothing and just, you know, keep your worries here.
Last day of military immersion at Camp Rango, and surprise guests. Pentagon recruiters have just arrived at the camp armed with everything that Texans love. Latin music, country dance, basketball, and football.
They're having a good time. I'm not here asking for phone numbers, not here trying to contact you, but they will remember. Go see me. They're excited to see me. We built a relationship where we know each other. We're kind of, social. Absolutely. The Army changed my life. It gave my children an opportunity that they wouldn't have had if I stayed there. So I chose to come and be a recruiter so that I can tell these kids that I can help other people to understand that this is a way you can go, that you don't have to stay in poverty. You don't have to stay in a bad situation. This is an escape, that you can change your entire life. You can become a new person. You can become a better version of yourself. And I've been very successful in helping quite a few people. And I'm proud of that. So.
This summer, several hundred high school students from Fort Worth will join the Army after obtaining their diplomas. 6 months have passed since our meeting with Saul, who loves nice cars, and who enlisted even before finishing high school. He was supposed to join Fort Jackson in North Carolina. The recruiters and his former teacher have just learned that he did not show up for training. He disappeared.
You have reached the voicemail box of 2144509.
He's not answering anyone's call at all. No one knows his whereabouts. Well, I won't say no one. I believe his family knows. But as far as maybe peers or like me, his former teacher, no one knows his whereabouts. Or some peers that I have asked to try to get a hold of him, they don't know his whereabouts.
This year, besides Saul, stated that they were going into any form of the military, Air Force, Navy, Reserves, National Guard.
Away from Saul, I had 5 more in the program that were going to the Army or National Guard.
To your knowledge, did they stick with their commitment?
Yes. My knowledge, they're all shipped, and one is due to leave on the 30th of this month. That would be the last one. Saul was not a follower. Saul was a leader. He wanted to lead. He gave no indication. What Saul talked about or what he breathed was the Army, that he was going into the Army, up until the very last minute. If he had some issues going on, he certainly did not express that vocally to me. He's a young man, and sometimes we don't always make the right choices, so.
In your opinion, was he too young to join the Army?
No, I was very young when I joined. Yes, he was young, but not to join the military. Maybe a little bit of, maturity. So, next time I see him, I'm gonna choke him.
I know that. That's right.
I know.
I'm like big man on campus.
Across the United States, the end of the school year represents a time of decisions. How many students in 9th, 10th, and 11th grades will take the Army elective again next year? How many seniors will sign on for a military career? In Chicago, violence continues in disadvantaged neighborhoods. The 1,714th shooting of the year was one too many for Donald Trump, who announced on Twitter the creation of a special task force to stop these murders. Yasmin, the head cadet of Hubbard High School, is still holding on to her dreams.
Just like
You know, it's expensive here, Mom. It costs between $40,000 and $50,000 a year. It's more practical for students to live here on campus, because then you don't have to spend lots of time on the train, especially during final exam time.
I would like us to look at all of this seriously, to know how much it would cost us exactly if you lived on campus. Especially since it would be much safer than commuting home to our neighborhood each day.
It was in the middle of the night. I had gotten up because I forgot I had an assignment due. So I got up, I went to my laptop, I opened my email, and then I got the virtual letter first, and it said, "Congratulations, you are part of the Loyola welcoming class for 2021. And I read it, and I couldn't wait to tell someone. So I called my friend, and I texted her. I was like, I got accepted. And she woke up, she's like, oh my God, congratulations. I was just really happy.
And yet, Yasmin will not go to university next year. The scholarship she received is not enough. Neither she nor her parents have enough to pay for the rest of the tuition. The Army offered to pay everything in exchange for enlisting. She hesitated, then said no, because she dreamed of another future than the one that the Army planned for her. Yasmin will return to a technical college in her neighborhood to save money and retry her luck with college applications in 2 years. She wants to become a lawyer.
Getting ready for my mock trials and everything that had to do with law, and they were really proud. So at first they were telling me, they're like, go into the Army, you're gonna do great, you're gonna love it. And when I told them, I was like, no, I'm gonna go into law school, they were a little upset, but I think the joy of them seeing that I was doing something else that I actually had an interest for just made them happy as well.
I was afraid that she would want to join the Army. But I would have supported her. I know we all have a mission in life. And if that had been her decision, if it's what she really wanted to do, I wouldn't have had any other choice but to support her.
Yasmin has returned her uniform. No more inspections, different rules. She went to high school yesterday for the last time. Tonight is the graduation ceremony, the end of her high school years spent with the Army. Now she's alone with her dreams.
I just straightened my hair because I had to wear it if I was going to go in. Hey.
Hey. Damn, you look like fuck.
Thanks. Like my dress?
I love it.
From the south side, it feels really nice graduating in downtown because you're kind of used to everything just being cramped up or not for it to not look really nice. And then in downtown, once you graduate, there's this huge auditorium where there's a bunch of lights and you feel I guess a princess or something because you're going to a place that's really nice that you're not used to seeing every day.
Congratulations. You're about the one that's come the closest. I've had 2 other ones, but you're one that's come the closest. You did. You did. Much success in the future.
I'd like to reminisce on our time at Hubbard High School, a time in which we experienced significant change. This change cannot be properly categorized as a roller coaster with emotions ranged from the feeling of hope that we had as freshmen with remarks such as, yes we can, to the uncertain future that we now live in under the process of making America great again. The uncertainty in today's world is exactly why we are all gathered here today. We are gathered because on this stage, on these seats, lies the future of the United States, the future of the world. Yes, it sounds extremely far-fetched to say that we students from a neighborhood high school in the southwest side of Chicago can go out there and change the world. But somebody has to be responsible for changing the world. So why can't that be us? As a matter of fact, it has to be us.
This is the family's time and their time. We've gotten them this far. There are always very special cadets that you will miss. There are other ones that I am here just to make sure that they walk across the stage and leave. But overall, as I said, when they leave, it's a sense of accomplishment. I'm happy to see them going on to their future, because that's what we trained them to do.
We did it. The path might not always be easy, but now I know that we'll make it.
The American dream speaks to those of us who came from other countries and still managed to accomplish things working with only our bare hands. We managed to do a lot. And one of the greatest satisfactions is a night like this, to see our children succeed and have a better life than ours, the life we came so far for them to have.
And when I come here, I'm always going to think about, oh, what would it have been like if I was in the Army? You know, where would I be right now? As Trump became president, it just kind of like was that little spark that I needed to fully decide that I wanted to become an immigration attorney. I believe that being a lawyer is, I think, like something that's really necessary now, especially to represent the minorities, to help up and making sure that they're not separated and to be able to fight for a chance for them to have a better life here. I think that's what makes America America.
Recover. Back up. Your future self is gonna thank you for what you're doing right now, right? All right. Those of you who have not turned in your diplomas, I need to see you guys inside so I can write down your name so we can make sure we get your stuff, especially if you're getting ready to ship. I need to get your stuff, okay?
Yeah, man.
After high school, 40% of the young members of the JROTC enlist in the Army.